I have my microphone on. Moment of silence and pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Michelle Volk. Here. Luke Hellier.
Here.
John Bermel.
Here.
Dan Wolter.
Here.
Joshua Lee.
Here. Okay, item number 3, citizens' comments is an opportunity for someone to address the council for up to 3 minutes if you have something of concern that's not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, moving on to additional agenda information, Mr. Miller.
Mayor and Council, item 7C has been asked by the applicant to be tabled, and so when we get to that item, we would just need a motion to table that to our next meeting.
Okey doke, item 7C. Okay, moving on to presentations, introductions. I'll turn it over to Chief Meyer, our fire chief, to give us our fire department quarterly report. Evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to present the second quarter report for the Lakeville Fire Department, and I'll start with our mission statement. The Lakeville Fire Department is dedicated to serving the community through the protection of lives and property by providing public safety education and professional emergency response. Looking 3-year call comparison, so on the left, just looking by year, so this is just second quarter numbers, so you can see 2025 in the second quarter we had 1,083 runs, slightly up compared to the 2 previous years. And then on the right side is just by month in that quarter. You can see April is pretty similar to the previous 2 years. May we spiked for 437 calls, which is our highest volume in a month for the department history. June was kind of back to normal, if you will, but 362 calls compared to the previous 2 years behind that. And then second quarter was 1,083 total calls. On the left is just kind of how those are breaking out. Obviously, medical calls, rescue calls are about 66% of our call volume that we do, followed by good intent, false alarms, hazardous conditions. Fires, we did see an uptick in fires in the second quarter, but we're still within our normal that we see in a year roughly. And then on the right side is just overlapping calls, so how many times that occurs in that period is just multiple calls coming in. So we had 222 calls, 2 incidents or more occurring at one time is 187, 3+ incidents, or 3 incidents is 17 times, and then 4+ incidents is 18 times. Obviously, that's just something that we pay attention to with 2 staffed engines. Having 2 incidents at the same time is not a big issue anymore. And I'll say the crews are very good at clearing up a call and getting to the next one. It's when we start getting into that 3 and 4 that we're paging out stations and getting a response from them. Station incident totals, so just looking at if a station is paged, and as we knew what was going to happen as far as staffing those engines, you can see on that graph that they're handling the bulk of the incidents, but the station numbers are dropping, which we knew was going to happen. It was kind of the roughly dropping it by about a third as you see it go down from 24 to 25. And then starting on April 28th is when we started staffing the second engine, which is engine 1, and you can just see the breakout of numbers between the 2 engines, engine 4, engine 1, of what they're handling by call volume in the second quarter. And just to highlight a couple of the significant calls that occurred in the second quarter, and I'll start from the right side, is the Ivory Lane fire. So this was Memorial Day. Obviously, this was a lot in the public or information out there, but it was a significant fire from what you see there. Started in the garage and extended into the attic space. Our crews, both our engines were on scene in less than 5 minutes, but still they faced a lot of fire. As you can see, it was well extended into the attic space, so that's why you see the damage that's there to the house. The middle picture is just a unique call. So some workers were working on a rail car that happened to have recycled paper bales inside of it. Started those on fire. Just took a little bit of logistics work to get Progressive Rail, some of their staff out to move the rail car to where we could access it. And then they had to bring in equipment, and actually what you can see pouring out is the bales as we're soaking them down, but had to push bales out onto the ground so we can get those that were burning out of the way to get back to where it was spreading to. And then the left one, Kenosha Fire, significant call as far as started a vehicle fire that you can see there, started into the garage, into the attic space of the garage. Again, crews did a great job. They were on scene in less than 6 minutes, stopped the fire in the garage. The unique thing about this is a group home with 3 patients that were bedridden or mobile patients. So between PD and our second engine, they worked on evacuating the patients, getting them out of the house, but the house really had minimal smoke damage, a little bit of water damage in one of their offices in the basement, but it was a great stop by the crews that were there, and this was roughly, I think, 11 p.m. at night, so a good response. And response time, so I broke this out into top left is just EMS emergency or emergent lights and sirens calls. The right side is structure fire, so it's a pretty small number to look at, but just to show those time savings that you see. On the EMS ones, it's 2 staffed engines and then a station response. And that alarm to arrival is kind of where we watch things go as far as, and that's from the time that our dispatch center receives a call until the first unit is on scene. You can see the first 2 staffed engines are just over 10 minutes. If it's a station response, they're closer, pushing that 15-minute mark. And then the other one I look at is the alarm time as far as processing, how long it takes to dispatch from the time that the phone rings for them to alert us of the call. On these emergent calls on EMS and structure fires, the EMS calls are about 1:30. The structure fires are about just over a minute, and it's just how the questions that they answer makes things go a lot faster as far as that they dispatch us. And then the bottom one is just all response, so it doesn't matter if we're going lights or sirens, and what the call type is to show the difference in that we may take our time a little bit more, and then the alarm time increases because dispatch is asking some more questions to make sure that we get the right resources to go, if that makes sense. That one, as far as alarm time, is just over 2 minutes for them to process. And
Ask a question about the EMS.
yes.
So you make the note, because we've been talking about this for a while, about the percentage that you arrive prior to the ambulance.
Yes.
Do you also track then how much longer after before they show up? And then do you also track if an EMT was actually needed versus just, or a paramedic was actually needed versus just medical
A BLS
service?
versus an ALS?
Yeah.
We don't track that piece of it as far as a BLS versus ALS. Unfortunately, we don't have a good method other than just marking time on our reports as far as when they arrive. Normally, we're a good 5 to 10 minutes in front of them.
Okay.
So, and kind of to lead into that, some of the training, some of the variances that we've added because of what we see, and it allows us to get some patient care going. So our goal from a fire department standpoint is to have that patient ready to go, so when the ambulance arrives, we can get them into the ambulance and transported faster.
Okay.
So, and then you can see the percentage of that we're arriving 62% of the time in front of the ambulance. Some fire prevention community events that we have been involved in. So on the left side, events, vehicle fair, the police department's open house. We did have a crew at Movie on the Turf, Hope for Kids out at Branch and Farms. A few more that were out there. And then in the middle, we did fire safety talk, station tours. So the very top picture in that column is our fire prevention team out teaching extinguishers to all of our 6th graders in the Lakeville school systems. Still doing some daycare school tours. Obviously, food truck inspections have been a big piece. Along with that, we had the Food Truck Fest in May. Fleet Farm continually has events going on in their parking lot, so we're monitoring that. Our food trucks are coming in for inspections. And then businesses, school events, and park events. And then we had a number of school year-end events as far as their family fun night, family festivals at the schools that we participated in or had a truck there for them. And then just from an inspection standpoint, so how we break those down, annual inspection is a general inspection. So if we're going to any business, we start with a general inspection before we start narrowing it down if there's something specific we need to look at. We did 117 of those, 109 mobile food truck inspections, and then you can see the breakdown from there. What is a routine key box is just verifying that the key boxes on the outside of that business still work for the doors, because there's a lot of times that they start changing locks in a building. And then further ones as we go down through there. Again, kind of our goal always as the inspection team is to educate before we work on any violation, so we note whatever that issue is fire code, and then we try to get them to correct that in a short time frame. Training, so some of the training that was completed in the second quarter, EV vehicle response, so that picture right next to it is actually a Tesla that a company brings in, shows us some of the safety features, how we gain access if that vehicle's in an accident or loses power. I don't have any good pictures, but in the background you can see a big red semi-trailer that they bring in as part of the training, and they have a number of different batteries, not only electric vehicle batteries, but like your power tool batteries, a lawnmower battery, stuff like that, and how they're made up, and then what are the failure issues that they see, and kind of giving us education on that. In May, we completed live burn. June was water rescue and drone training. And then along with that, we had a number of firefighters attend fire inspector class, fire officer class. And then our shifts have been doing a lot of training just to get them up to speed as far as where we want to be as a department. And then we spent time in May also as mental health awareness, as doing some training and making sure everybody was aware of the avenues that we have if they have issues or they want to talk to somebody. Also in the second quarter, our first 6 firefighters that we hired full-time, we held a badging ceremony, so they came off probation. The far right picture is 4 of them that are pictured. One was not able to attend, so they just had a baby, so that was a better excuse than coming to council for a badging ceremony. But firefighter Steve Moses, Captain Colin Hagan, Captain Tom Ness, and firefighter Dan Baird are the 4 that are pictured there. And then with that, obviously we got the SAFER grant. We hired 16 full-time firefighters. 15 of those were for the SAFER grant, and these are just pictures of them going through whether it's fitness, whether it's the training academy, them doing training on shift. It's just a mix of everything that we've done with them to get them up to speed and get them to where we want to see them go as a department and as shifts and firefighters. We also did a pay-on-call recruitment, so kind of the timeline that you see there to the left. They started their first day of orientation last Tuesday evening. We hired 8 pay-on-call firefighters, and you can see the breakout: 4 for Station 2, 2 for Station 2, and 2 for Station 3. And along with recruitment, we had 3 retirements in June. All 3 of these firefighters were 20 years. They were hired back in 2005 for staffing of Station 4 when that was opened. John Clancy, lieutenant out of Station 4, and then Dan Harlicka and Steve Meyer from Station 4, both firefighters. Kind of the unique thing is we go back and look at pictures, but you can see all 3 of them on the bottom of the picture of like when they started their career, their family. And now I can say I'll say all of them, their kids are off to college, so just kind of watching that progress as the timeline happens. Department updates. So our fire station design team continues to meet every Monday morning, and we go over kind of the design, the layout of the new station, and some of that you're fully aware of. We're also exploring a mentorship program in partnership with the chamber and the school district of how do we find or how do we look at maybe a junior or a senior that's in high school that's interested in the fire service, provide some ride-along, some mentorship, and then potentially bring them in for training, and hopefully they become part of our department as a pay-on-call, and then we can keep stepping them forward as far as if it's full-time with Lakeville or somewhere else, but give them that opportunity to learn about the fire service and maybe train with that too. One of the unique things is this past year we had a German exchange student. She's on part of a fire brigade in Germany. They started I think she was 16. And she needed hours to continue her fire service, so she did ride-alongs with us and worked some events with us, and it was an opportunity that kind of, I'll say, sparked an idea of this mentorship program more than what we were able to do. And then the bottom one is just the first responder skills training center is progressing, and I just added a couple of pictures of basically the building going up there. And that concludes my second quarter report. Thank you for your support to the fire department. I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Yeah, John?
Just a quick question, when you were showing the training in the electric vehicle, I know like in the last couple of years, these lithium battery fires were, boy, this is the fastest growing fire risk. Do we see issues with that in town, or?
We have seen a few. Most of those it's a battery malfunction or inappropriate charger with that battery. So, like buying a knockoff charger, if you have a DeWalt or Milwaukee or whatever that brand name is, and then the charger goes bad and you buy a knockoff at a cheaper price, it doesn't match the battery, and then typically that's where we see issues.
Okay.
Or if there's damage to the battery, something, you drop it, something, and that interrupts or that breaks part of the connections in the batteries, that's the other parts of the failure. From the EV training, something that we've added is the car fire blanket. So we have two of them on, one on each engine, because once an EV battery starts that fire, so to speak, once and I'm drawing a blank on the verbiage, but once it starts fire, there's, no matter how much water you apply, you're not going to put it out until it burns through the cells that are faulty, so to speak. So in a vehicle fire, the best practice that's coming out right now is to cover it with a fire blanket. You're still applying water to keep it cool, but then we're just waiting for that chemical reaction to stop.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, Joshua?
Are there similar concerns or issues with solar panels on people's roofs for structure fires?
We haven't had any issues with solar panels because there's not, most of your solar panels on your homes are providing power back into the grid system. They're not being stored in a battery. That is, we're seeing a few of those that's still developing. We're not, I'll say, what we've seen in Lakeville and Minnesota is not as big as what you can see elsewhere in the country, kind of down in Arizona, that area, New Mexico, where they're much more prominent. Those are similar to a car fire or an EV battery in a vehicle or your power tools on a much bigger scale. So there is a lot of research happening and issues that have other parts of the country have seen.
Gotcha. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Certainly.
Have a good rest of your evening. All right, moving on to item 6, our consent agenda. This is some more routine items in front of the council. Mr. Miller, anything you want to highlight?
Thank you, Mayor. 2 items tonight. Item 6C is a resolution accepting donations from customers of Lakeville Liquors. This past month, they donated close to $29,000, and those will go to our K-9 program with the police department, so we're thankful for those donations. And then item 6E is a resolution approving an application to the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources, and this is for a grant application for the Lake Marion Greenway. We have preliminarily been awarded $1.8 million for that, and this will just finalize that application, and then hopefully that makes through to the final decision that the legislature will make this upcoming session.
Excellent. Thank you. Council, any items you want to further discuss? If not, I'll take a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay. All those or any further discussion? All those in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Now moving on to action items. A, ordinance amending Title 10 and 11 of the City Code and summary ordinance. And I will turn over Community Development Director, Ms. Goodroad, to give us a recap on tree preservation.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Yes, this evening, staff is recommending approval of an ordinance. Couple of sections here, Title 10, which is the subdivision section, and Title 11, the zoning ordinance, which expands our tree preservation ordinance. We've had multiple meetings with Planning Commission, our Park and Recreation Commission, as well as the City Council. And so this ordinance puts all that into play based on the direction that we've received from Council. So again, the ordinance really moves the tree preservation section into the zoning ordinance from the subdivision code. There is still a reference in the subdivision code for it, and it really solidifies the requirements, identifies the types of development that will require a tree preservation plan, and then establishes removal thresholds, and then what happens if you exceed those thresholds and the type of trees that need to be planted in replacement of that. So again, the scope of the ordinance is very similar to what you have seen. Any new development requiring subdivision approval or just simple site plan approval, application for permits on infill lots, so a lot that's been previously created but not yet developed, and then application for a building permit for reconstruction or expansion of a home. That has changed just a little bit after our first Planning Commission meeting, and I'll get into that. So for existing properties, we shared this ordinance with the Planning Commission. They opened and held the public hearing and closed it and then asked to table it on the July 17th meeting. They wanted a little bit more work done on the section that relates to existing properties. And so what we ended up doing, working with the forestry team, is we revised this section to have existing lots of record, that the ordinance would only apply to those properties that are 1 acre or greater. We chose 1 acre because any then tree replacement that would be required would be able to fit it. And the concern really came up when we were speaking about downtown lots, smaller lakeshore lots, that having a threshold of 1 acre would be more appropriate. We also revised the replacement requirements to only 2 replacement trees for each heritage tree. And please understand too that this only applies in these situations if someone is removing a heritage tree for the expansion of the actual house. Doesn't apply for a deck or something like that. It's for the principal house. So once we made those changes, we brought this back to Planning Commission at their August 7th meeting, and they liked the change and they supported the ordinance and recommended unanimously for approval. So that's the only real change. Other than that, the thresholds are based on the direction that we received from council, the residential districts at 40%, the other non-residential districts at 70%, and then the ordinance goes on. I can go into more detail if you'd like, but it goes into the requirements for how to calculate the removal, how to calculate the replacement. There are incentives built into the ordinance that are a little bit more generous from our neighboring communities, and overall, this ordinance is more flexible and less restrictive than our neighboring communities. So in the end, like I said, the Planning Commission reviewed this 2 times. At their second meeting on August 7th, they did recommend approval. And I would stand for any questions or if you want more detail.
Okay, council, any questions? Councilman O'Donnell?
Not really a question as much as a clarification, but with the 40%, we're not talking the number of trees, we're talking the number of inches,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Councilmember Lee?
Not a question, comment. Thank you, Director Goodroad, for the development of where we're at today. At the end of the day, I think this is a good compromise for where we started. But really, the initial intent of this came up because we're getting into parcels of land that are very wooded and have very large trees that we want to protect in some way or have a replacement plan for. And so in exploring these large parcels of land that are going to be developed in the near future, how does that apply to the rest of the properties that are in Lakeville as well? So I really appreciate the work that's been done in here, and I am looking forward to how this is really not meant to be something that penalizes developers, but actually influences how the design is put into place so that those trees are preserved as part of the planning process and not something that's penalizing those developers. So again, thank you. I appreciate all the work that's been done.
You're welcome.
This is not a public hearing, but did anybody have a comment? Okay. With that, I will take a motion to approve the changes. Bermal?
I move to approve an ordinance amending Title 10 and Title 11 of the City Code and a summary ordinance for publication.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? The only thing I would just say is I want to extend my gratitude to the Planning Commission who did a lot of work on this. I mean, we had a long work session, had a lot of conversations. I think we talked about it 2 or 3 times. But I appreciate the Planning Commission digging into it, catching a couple of those items, and then bringing us the copy we have tonight. So with that, roll call, please.
Bermal,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Volk, Hellier.
Aye. Okay, very good. Passes 5-0. Moving on to item B, Dakota Waste Solutions LLC and Olam Holdings 1 LLC comp plan and zoning map amendments. I don't know if, Tina, are you going to tee us up, or Mike? Mr. Brandt, if you want to give us a little background first. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Brandt with Kimley Horn, representing Dakota Waste Solutions LLC, and I think it's roughly about a year ago that we were at a work session for the council with Dakota Waste Solutions, kind of discussing what could be done on that site. So this is the first step of that process to move that project along. They've made application to the MPCA for the organic waste composting facility that would be located south of 215th and relocating the wood chip processing facility south of there as well. So with that, I just we're looking forward to this process and working with staff through the whole thing, and want to see this come to fruition of the whole project.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So this proposal, or this request for a comprehensive plan and rezoning and a MUSA plan expansion is requested by Dakota Waste Solutions, and then we included the Olam Holdings 1 LLC property. So the properties outlined in the red line. The Olam Holdings property is these longer, larger pieces. The property for the Dakota Waste Solutions is located in this 40 acres, and then we worked with the property owner of these two parcels to be included in this request because we're dealing with a split zoning kind of situation. And so we asked Olam Holdings to join this application. As Mr. Brandt said, Dakota Waste Solutions has submitted their application for preliminary plat. We're processing this as a PUD because of the unique uses. We're working with, through our first and probably second round of comments. So this application from them will be before you very soon, early fall. But let me go through the proposed changes this evening. So the area that is highlighted in yellow at the top of the screen, these parcels or portions of these parcels are currently guided on the land use plan as OP or office park, as well as warehouse light industrial on the land use plan. So their parcels are split. They have two different land use designations. So this request allows those parcels to be all under one warehouse light industrial versus a split land use designation. And then the second portion is to bring the parcels that aren't currently in the current MUSA, but are guided expansion area B, to bring those into the current MUSA. We will be working through infrastructure improvements on 215th Street as part of this project all the way to the interstate. With that will be sewer, water, storm, and roadway improvements to serve this property, to serve the properties to the north and as well as to the west. These properties will be part of a future assessment and need to be brought into the current MUSA for that expansion. And then finally, zoning always comes along with a comp plan amendment. The zoning is also under that split designation. So on this upper screen, you can see the OP and the I-1, again, office park and light industrial. And this proposal just simply rezones them to all be consistent zoning. So it's a very straightforward application. Again, Olam Holdings is going through their different reviews. We've reviewed an internal sketch plan. We've got the application with Dakota Resources, so things are definitely happening on these properties, and this first step will help move that along the process. Again, because it's a comp plan amendment, it requires 4/5 vote of the City Council, and then it would be submitted to the Metropolitan Council for their review, and then ultimately approved. And I would stand for any questions.
Okay, council, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the changes. Councilmember Walter?
I move to approve one, a resolution amending the 2040 comprehensive land use map and staging map and adoption of the findings of fact, and two, an ordinance amending the zoning map and adoption of findings of fact.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call, please.
Walter?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
Volk?
Aye.
Hellier?
Aye.
Bermel?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Looking forward to the progress on this project. Moving on to item C, I'll take a motion to table this item to September 2nd.
Mayor, I move to table item 7C until the September 2nd meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're going to table that item until the 2nd. With that, any unfinished or new business? Okay, seeing none, our announcements. Next work session is next Monday here at City Hall at 6 p.m. in the Lake Marion Conference Room. And the next City Council meeting is Tuesday, September 2nd, because Monday is Labor Day. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.